Hey boys and girls, so this week we're going to focus on really digging into creating our Romero Britto designs with patterns and contrast. So if you didn't get to the part last week where shapes were talked about, I showed you how Romero Britto likes to use big shapes to start his pieces, right in the middle. Some things he might draw are like animals or teddy bears, but in like really simple shapes. He really loves to use hearts a whole lot, but there are other shapes you can use. You are not limited to one type of shape that you're going to put in the middle of your paper really big. So like Romero Britto, he likes to draw hearts a lot. He loves to draw hearts. So I'm gonna follow his influence and follow his shoes, and I'm gonna draw a heart as my shape. So the first thing you're gonna do is you're gonna pick a shape, any shape you would like, and you're gonna draw it really big in the middle of your paper. So what shape are you going to do in the middle of your paper? It can be a heart like Romero Britto, or it could be a paw print, or a circle, square, triangle, a star, maybe a cloud shape, or maybe an animal. That if you know how to draw like an animal in simple shapes, using simple shapes. All right. So that's step one, is drawing a simple shape in the middle of your paper, very big, taking up most of the paper already. So now we have one enclosed space, which is a shape, that we can put a pattern in. But we want more than one shape that we can put patterns in. So what we're going to do is now we're going to switch to using some lines. Remember, there are all different types of lines. There's straight lines, which are up and down, horizontal, diagonal. There's curvy lines. There are zigzag lines, and a whole bunch of lines you can use. So you're going to start to pick a bunch of different types of lines to use, and you're going to start at the edge of your shape, and you're going to draw it going out to the edge of the paper, all the way off the paper. You're going to do it again. Maybe you do another different line, like a curvy line. We'll do another one up here. I'll do kind of like zigzag right there. And I'll do another straight line right up here, up to the top, off the paper. Now look, let's count now how many spaces we have that we can put different patterns in. Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So these are 5 different spaces. So we can put 5 different patterns in these spaces. But I'm going to add a few more. I want to make it more interesting by putting some shapes inside of that one big shape here. So I'll repeat that again there. Now let's count how many we have now of how many different shapes we could do inside, or different patterns we can do inside these shapes. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That's 7 different spaces or shapes. Because the edges of our papers are also considered a side of the shape. So like this here is a shape, a space that we can put patterns in, okay? And so that's why if you start doing this, you draw your shape and you do like many lines going off the side of the shape to your side of your paper, that's a lot of spaces to fill in with different patterns. So it's it's in your best interest to not overwhelm yourself with too many lines going from the edge of your shape out to the edges of your paper. And then maybe just a few more inside that shape that you first did, just to make it a little interesting. Okay, so the next step is to add patterns. Romero Britto loved to use polka dots and stripes and confetti patterns. So that's definitely a place that we can start right there. If you practice making patterns on your own, you are welcome to use any of those patterns that you practice in your spaces, because we want to be creative and make this our own. I'm just going to start with stripes, like Romero. Start in any space I'd like to start. So I started here in this one, and I just did a bunch of straight lines. Repeated, going in the same direction until that whole space right there is filled. So now I've got this space with stripes. I think I'm going to repeat more stripes over here. I'm not going to put stripes right next to any spaces that is next to this space. So like this, and this one. See how these three spaces are touching this one? I'm not going to put stripes in that one. Because I want spaces right next to each other to contrast each other. So doing like patterns next to each other is gonna it's gonna hurt your eyes. So we want to create contrast, like Romero Britto. Okay. In the middle of the heart, I'll do polka dots. You can do your polka dots all the same shapes, or same size shapes or circles, or you can go ahead and add in some smaller ones. This is also contrast, because you can contrast. Remember, contrast just means different, like opposites. So big and small are opposites, so you can have contrast in a pattern with big and small. I'm just kind of alternating between the two. And I'm also kind of cutting them off to make it look like it's filling up the whole space. Now we have 4 more spaces to fill in with 4 more different patterns. If you want one space to be one color, then you wouldn't put a pattern in the space. So say you wanted the inside of this heart here, that space that I just put polka dots in, to just be one color and not have patterns, you can do that. I wouldn't do two just flat colors right next to each other, like in 2 spaces. So there's a few spaces you can leave blank. Other than that, we want to add a lot of patterns. Let's move to this one. So I think I'm going to alternate between a line and then what can I do? Let's see. I think it would look nice to do the confetti, actually, like Romero Britto over here in this space. So confetti is just like sprinkles. Like sprinkles on a cupcake or cake. Okay, so it's like dash lines, little circles, and little loop-de-loop lines to be like confetti. Or like sprinkles. If you want some of them to be triangles, they can be triangles. I think that looks nice, nicely contrasted next to these 2 patterns. I think that's good. And that one. Alright, I'm going to do these last 2 and speed it up a little bit. think I'll start in this one here doing one type of line and then a shape. Like a shape. I think over here I'm going to do stripes since it's away from these two. I'll do them sideways now by instruction. And then, remember we can do patterns by putting the same shape inside of the same shape over and over again until it gets bigger. So we can start like that. And there we go. We have all our patterns in each space. So it's time to add color to it. What we need to remember when we're using our colors is contrast. And contrast in colors, very basically, is like a light next to a dark color. So pick any pattern to start in, and you're going to choose 2 colors. Okay? Whatever 2 colors you choose, one needs to be a dark color while one is a light color. So blue and orange contrast each other pretty well because blue is dark and orange is kind of light. And then you're just going to fill in . I think I'm going to stop there. So just to review, we used patterns. Well, first we started with the shape. We started with shape, and then we used lines to break up the shape and then the space around the shape on the paper to make several different big spaces to fill patterns in with. I had like 7, I think, in total to fill up patterns with. And then I used shapes, lines, and color to make patterns in all the different spaces. And then lastly, when I was choosing my colors, I was thinking about contrast and colors that contrast each other between light and dark colors. And then as I was going, I was trying to think about what colors I had already used and then trying to use different, like, other colors I haven't used before. You can definitely repeat colors. It's just I made sure that any spaces near each other didn't really have like the same kind of colors next to each other. And those are Romero Britto designs with patterns and contrast. All right, guys, send me a picture of what you did.